So it's 4:30 now, and as per our tradition, we will start bang on time. Welcome all of you, dear friends, to this session on financial peace and prosperity. Uh, we started this journey on 26th of December with the first session, which was titled Dar Se Dream Tak. And the reason we conceived this program was because in my work with a lot of corporates and with a lot of people, I was hearing there were current couple of themes which are very coming up again and again, is how to deal with fear, how to deal with anxiety. There is a lot of depression, there is a lot of stress. People don't know what's going to happen. Many people were thinking that by the end of 2020 we have probably seen the end of corona, but with the new variants coming in, we don't know where the world is headed. So there is a lot of uncertainty and anxiety in the people, and I thought there is something we must do at Mindful Living to address those challenges. And we conceived this program Dar Se Dream Tak, in which and the recording of these sessions is available on our YouTube channel. We'll be sharing the link of the YouTube channel later in the program today. So if you wish to go back and see this program, we'll be happy to you can see what we're trying to do there. So in that session, there are two strategies we shared to deal with this current situation, where people are feeling stressed, fearful, depressed. There are two things people can do to break out from this state of anxiety and depression. And the number one strategy is practicing gratitude. And we shared a very simple strategy, and I would like to start this session by inviting all of you to practice this with me, which is called the Lotus of Gratitude. जैसे कि कमल कीचड़ में उगता है, ये जो हमारा लोटस ऑफ ग्रैटिट्यूड है, ये नेगेटिव इमोशंस के कीचड़ में से उगता है. And this is a practice I learned from Nitya Shanti. So please join me. I'll describe this practice first, and then we will do this together. Hold your hands, fingers like this in a petal, like lotus petals, and think of one thing that you are grateful for. And as you think of that one thing, you can open your finger. So some of you know that I went through, I had COVID, and I'm grateful that I am alive. I'm grateful that all of you have joined for this session. You've taken out time. So you can be grateful. You can count that, whatever you're grateful for. You can, you may be grateful for having your family members around you, grateful for the food that we have on our table. Whatever you feel you are grateful for, just think of one thing and open one petal. And when you are done, just hold your hands, and then I'll guide you to the next one. So let's start. It takes about a minute. So let's do the Lotus of Gratitude. You can keep your eyes closed or half open in soft gaze. And once you are done with the 10, put your hand on your heart and feel the gratitude in your heart. Feel grateful towards planet Earth, which provides us with everything that we need. Feel grateful for everything that is going right in our lives. You may open your eyes once you are done with the exercise. And this simple practice of gratitude can be done any time of the day. It can be done as many times. You can do it first thing in the morning. You can do last thing in the night before you go to sleep. You can do it for something which is going on good in your life right now. You can do it for something which you expect to go well in future. So it can be for the current and in future things. So that is number one strategy, because when we are grateful, we can't be fearful or anxious. So this is one energy which helps us move up. The second practice that we discussed about in Dar Se Dream Tak program is about living on purpose. Many of us wander through life without any specific goals or having a purpose. And it is very easy, to go through life without having a purpose, because then, we nobody can fault us कि ये हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, किसी को पता नहीं. uh, but जब अगर serious wealth, if you are interested in generating serious wealth, and I'm sure all of you are interested in generating serious wealth and improving the financial future of your families, then you need special knowledge for it, and you need a strategy for it. Wealth cannot be created without having knowledge, and you need the right vehicles to create wealth. And another very important thing is that you need to protect it. आप में से कोई भी ऐसा है जो घर में रहता है जिसके दरवाजे नहीं है? Anybody lives in a house which doesn't have doors? Or anybody drives a car without wearing seat belts? No, it's not like that. We are very familiar with the concept of protection. We take care, but we are not serious enough about it. So we will spend some more time understanding how can we protect, how can we put a fence around the wealth that we are creating, so that our wealth is not eroded, our wealth is not lost due to any expected or unexpected event that takes place. With that, friends, I welcome you to this session today. And once again, I express my gratitude to all of you for taking out time and joining us in this session today. My name is Ashish Kumar. I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to that, I worked in the corporate sector for 25 years. I'm an MBA in finance and a cost accountant. And the reason I'm sharing that is because, if you are talking about finance, you need to know that you're speaking with professionals. So that's our academic credentials. In the last 2 years, I have conducted more than 150 sessions for employees in the corporate sector. I've done sessions for leading companies like Tata Group, Aditya Birla Group, Airbnb, Kotak Mahindra Life, Power Grid Corporation, Times of India, and many other leading organizations. The session today, I'll be co-hosting with Mr. Avdesh Nagar, who is a very senior finance professional. He is an alumni of the prestigious Sri Ram College of Commerce and Master of Finance and Control. He's the founder of MoneyLogist. Prior to starting MoneyLogist, he worked in leading multinational organizations like GE Capital, Citibank, Standard Chartered Bank, where he was a director. And in his last assignment, he was handling a portfolio of over 500 million US dollars. He started MoneyLogist about 5 years back, and he is helping more than 300 clients manage their wealth actively. Welcome, Avdesh.
Thank you, Ashish. Thanks a lot, so much for the kind introduction. You started the session very well with the practice of gratitude. All of us are thankful to you. At this moment, I would like to introduce Sanjeev Agarwal, an old friend of mine. Sanjeev is also an alumni of Sri Ram College of Commerce. And Sanjeev did his chartered accountant, he's a rank holder. And thereafter, he has worked with a very prestigious organization. Currently, he's heading finance, accounting and taxation function for BMW Group of India. Welcome, Sanjeev. Really grateful that you have joined us. We look forward to your interaction with you, Sanjeev. At this moment, I would like you to give us give us some tips or some information about the financial planning and the topic which we have today. So can we have you, Sanjeev, please? We can have you, please. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Avdesh, for the kind introduction. And good afternoon, dear friends and respected audiences. Thanks to Mindful Living for inviting me for this webinar. And I would be sharing some thoughts on this very beautiful topic as to financial discipline. And thanks for this wonderful example set by Ashish for this gratitude. So it's really important that we convey our gratitude to the people who have helped us in leaving us so great. And so with this, let's, and I'm quite excited about this topic and want to hear, how we can, manage our financials little better. Everybody, I'm sure, is doing their best, but we will somehow learn today some more tips from this panel. So let's talk about financial discipline, why it is so important. So having financial discipline actually allows you to make sure you have money for what is most important for you. Somehow, automating your savings also helps you avoid the temptation to spend your money on the things you somehow don't even need it. So, because the money never shows up in your general checking account, so savings also ensures that you have another stream of income lying somewhere, and we must have at least more than one stream of income. Some of us are doing our own businesses, some of us are in the employment, self-employment. So this is important that we must have at least one more source of income to give us a little better sense of security, financial security. That's also important. So savings could come as part of our routine. It should come as part of our routine. It should not be a burden that we have to save something on out of our income. Our savings should be treated as part of as we pay our rentals, as we do our other spendings, and systematic savings is really very important. And in this regard, I would like to mention that Moneylogist and Avdesh Nagar specifically from this organization has helped a lot to me personally. He has been able to tell me how do I structure my my dreams, my goals, and how they can be met through the financial planning. So it is important that you have strategy around your goals, like buying a house, buying a dream car, buying an insurance cover for the family, or investing into education of your children. So for every kind of goal, we have to set one financial instrument which can help us on those dates, in those future dates. And it is important that we plan it better. So timely advice for the same is very important. Also I would like to say that in our day-to-day busy life, where most of us struggle to get time for finishing our day-to-day jobs and achieving our corporate common goals. So it is really hard to spend time and to take care of our own personal investments. So here comes the role of a financial advisor who can, at times let us know what can be done to make our investments little better. The portfolio can be, set in a manner which helps in our future financial needs. So here is the role of a financial advisor, and one thing what I would say is very important, that we need to be more transparent with our advisor so that he can assess our needs, who can assess our risk appetite, understand our time horizon where we need money. So this is also very important. So in all these areas, I would again say that Moneylogist has helped a lot in actually packaging these needs for myself. So just to give my own example, I'm quite happy and satisfied that the step-by-step approach of financial discipline, which I followed over the years, has helped me that, and I'm proud to say that I have a good spread of my investments, right? And thanks again, Avdesh, that you helped me over the years in setting it right. So Moneylogist, as Ashish mentioned, that it was established about 5 years back. But as far as Avdesh is concerned, so I know him now for more than 3 decades. So, he is he has very good financial advising skills.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Last, I would also like to say that we must classify our investments, our assets, into different buckets. So whether it should be in the form of gold or ETFs or mutual fund, equity mutual fund, debt mutual fund, fixed deposit, all it depends upon, what is our goal for those our respective future needs. So, it is important that we must have an advisor, we must have a sarathi who can guide us when to put in money, when to stay out, when to come out, when to stay in the market. So that's really very important. So with this note, I wish all the best for this session. I'm sure Ashish and Avdesh will take this session forward and give you little more insights in detail about how the habit of financial discipline can be maintained in our personal life. So with this, I would like to hand over this back to Avdesh and Ashish. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. Thank you for your kind words. Yeah, Ashish, you please.
So, thanks, Sanjeev. There were many very powerful points that you made there. One was, this one of the initial points you made was about the discipline of saving and making this an item. Like we pay rent and like we pay many other expenses. We budget for saving also. But one of the pushbacks that I get from many people when I talk about the importance of saving and saving before expending, people say that, if I save, then it is going to reduce my capability to enjoy my life. This is the age when I want to go and spend and enjoy my life. So what is the advice you would give to people, and with the easy availability of credit and credit card, people just swipe and, have a good time without budgeting or without saving. So anything you would like to share on that, Sanjeev? Did you face similar challenge? How did you give up on consumption to prioritize saving? How did you do that? Anything from your personal example you would like to share?
See, I think it's a very pertinent question in today's world. And one always gets tempted to spend on the things, maybe that it is sometimes it is electronic gadgets, sometimes, our day-to-day needs. Yes, it is important, but we must take care of our, overall budget. बोलते हैं ना कि चादर के अकॉर्डिंग पैर फैलाने चाहिए. So it's really important. If you are not budgeting your expenses according to your income, one day certainly it is going to give additional strain on you, and it is going to put you under stress, unnecessary stress. So that you must avoid. So it's always good to plan in advance and keep some savings as a part of routine. It's not nothing which exceptionally we are doing. It is very important. We have to keep a systematic savings plan in place.
I think that was a very important point you made, Sanjeev, about automating your saving process. So do the SIPs so that certain amount of money gets saved on a monthly basis. I think that was very relevant. There was another very interesting point you made, that professionals should have more than one source of income, and those who are in the corporate sector and are dependent on salary, most of the time, like you said, is spent in workplace, and people don't focus on creating the second source of income, which could come from investments or any other source. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on that? How people can, why people should focus on creating a second source of income and how they can do it while being in their jobs?
Yes, absolutely. So I think, we have recently faced this pandemic where, most of us seen how badly it has affected each one of us life. And we can just try to connect it and see, there were a lot of job losses. There were a lot of, pay cuts in the organizations. Especially, it was very hard time for the people, who were on their self-employment. So because, they couldn't generate any routine income, whether it is coming from salary or from their professional business income. So it is important that we must have some sort of, minimum, some amount which they can expect, whether it is coming in the form of interest or dividend or any capital market related stuff. So some sort of income that always gives you financial security and financial discipline. That kind of discipline is really very important.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Really appreciate your sharing the insights. There are a lot of valuable points that you have made, and I'm going to pick up on that. I've made notes of that, and I'm going to pick up on them as we go along the session. Please allow me to move on with the session. And the next topic which we are going to talk about is something which Sanjeev ji referred to is, about planning the finances in a manner that there is money available to us in the face of uncertainty. And and this is the pyramid that we mentioned about, that people can create, which will ensure that the money is always available to you. Pyramids are considered to be the most stable structure in the whole, on the planet Earth. They have been there for 5,000 years. And the reason they have been there is because the foundation or the base of the pyramid was made in a manner that it will ensure that they are always there. So when we are thinking of wealth creation, we start by looking at assets or investments which give us the highest return, but we forget to protect the asset that creates that money. If I were to ask you a question, if you had a horse, which earns, say, 1 crore rupees per annum by running in the races. So you have a horse which earns 1 crore rupees per annum. How would you take care of that horse? You can either type in the chat or you can unmute yourself and talk about it. If you have a horse which earns 1 crore rupees per annum, what would you do? How would you take care of that horse? Please feel, there are no right or wrong answers. Please feel free to share in the chat or unmute yourself and speak. If you had a horse which earns 1 crore rupees per annum, how would you take care of it?
You look after the health of the horse first.
You will look after the health of the horse. That's very well said. How else? Take care of the horse. Pramod says he will insure the horse, And I think that's a very valid point. Let us see what else. Get him well, do regular health checks, ensure that the horse is maintained and fit. Thank you for sharing that, Darshan. Thanks, Anita. Thanks, Goel Saab, for your inputs. Thanks, Anand. Anybody else? You have a horse which earns 1 crore rupees per annum. So you are saying you will take care of the health of the horse very well. But let me ask you a stark question. What if the horse dies in an accident, say? You are transporting the horse to take it to the race. There is an accident and the horse dies. Will you get your 1 crore rupees per annum? And
yes, he was insured.
Yeah, if you have insured, then you will get it. So the insurance can be for life. The insurance can be for injury. Insurance can be for health. And friends, in our case, we are that horse for our family. But what we forget to do is put enough fence around us. We forget to insure ourselves, or even if we insure ourselves, we are underinsured. We have not taken the adequate amount of insurance because we, somebody comes and pushes the sale on us and we buy something, rather than doing a proper need analysis, which Sanjeev ji was talking about. If you have a right financial advisor by your side, आपके पास अच्छा सारथी होगा तो वो आपको अच्छे से guide करेगा कि what is the right amount of coverage you need. So we need to cover the ourselves or the horse for the life, for the disability. So it is very important to create the base of our wealth protection or our wealth creation. First, protect the base by protecting ourselves, which is the most important asset that we have got. Our income, our ability to create income is the most important asset we have got, and we should insure ourselves, we should insure our health, we should insure ourselves for disability. There are more types of insurance, but we'll focus on these three. We are not selling insurance here. What we would like you to be aware of, the fact is that you will only be able to protect your wealth if you have got insurance. Otherwise, आपने जो भी investment किए हैं, वो ताश के पत्ते के घर की तरह होंगे. They will be like a house of cards, and any slight whiff of air and your wealth will fall away. So it is very important, if you want a solid structure which will ensure that you have money always, is to start by taking adequate insurance cover. And the second step in making a solid base of financial planning is to create an emergency fund. And this is something not many people talk about. It's been written about in recent times because of the COVID, but prior to that, it was not so popular. And people should have 3 months to 12 months of their expenses, including EMIs, put away in an emergency fund. What is the right amount of emergency fund? Get in touch with your financial advisor, and he or she will guide you whether you need 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. There are different factors which play out, whether you are the sole earning member, whether you have more than one family member, your age, your expenses. Basis that, the right amount of emergency fund amount is decided for you, and then you need to look at where to park that emergency fund. And the best part about creating an emergency fund, can you guess what it is? Okay, let me put it in a different way. Once you have created your emergency fund, how would you feel? What will be the feeling that you will have if you have 3 to 12 months of your monthly expenses taken care of? How would you feel? Please type in the chat or unmute yourself and speak. Samir says he will feel very secure. Thanks for sharing that. Good and secured. You will feel very good and secured. Relaxed and secure. Thanks, Neena ji. Anand says very relaxed.
Sense of achievement.
Sense of achievement. We'll feel a sense of achievement. We'll feel a sense of security. Anybody else? And any thoughts on how creating that emergency fund can help you? The state of mind is it gives us security. It helps us be relaxed. But any idea on how it can help? It can help us focus on other things, which is our profession. It can, if our backside is taken care of, then we can focus on our jobs. How else do you think it can help us? In case of job loss, this helps. Decision making regarding career change. Yeah, a lot of people are very stressed. What will happen if my job loss happens? And friends, I have had a career, active corporate career at senior management roles for over 25 years. And this situation of people losing jobs is not something which is happening for the first time. It has happened when the World Trade Tower attack happened on September 11. It happened when the economy tanked in 2008, and many other times also, when Harshad Mehta scam took place, when Ketan Parekh scam took place, when so many scams and different difficulties happened, job losses happened. But the best part about creating an emergency fund is that it puts you in a state of mind. Please understand, it puts you in a state of mind where you can focus and on the work that you're doing. And it's if I may say, a good side effect that the emergencies actually don't happen because you feel so powerful, when you have created that fund, that you go out and meet the world with full confidence and the emergency does not happen. So to recap, the first thing when you're doing your wealth planning or you're doing your financial planning is to buy adequate insurance for yourself. We are not recommending any plans to you here. We are not recommending any insurance. We are not saying you buy it from us. We are saying whoever your insurance consultant is, please get in touch with him or her and get an assessment of adequate insurance for yourself. Buy adequate life insurance, health insurance, and disability insurance. Number two, create an emergency fund which will take care of your expenses for 3 to 6 months or 12 months, and it will help you focus on your work better, and it will help you be relaxed, calm, and composed. And it is only after you have done these two things that you should focus on goal-based investing. And that is very important. Even Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal referred to it, that you should, do goal-based investing. And there is a lot of reason why you should do goal-based investing. And I will invite Avdesh now to talk more about the goal-based investing. And, he's an expert in that, in helping clients do goal-based investing. So with that, I'll invite Avdesh. But before that, before I ask Avdesh to come in and start talking about goal-based investing, I'll be happy to take any comments or questions if you have about the financial pyramid model that we have discussed so far. You can unmute yourself or type in the chat any questions or comments that you have. Does this make sense to you? How to come out of the burden of EMIs, loans, etc. Gangesh, this is something which we discussed extensively in our previous session. The recording of that session we'll be sharing shortly. In the group, you are a part of our mindfulness community, so the link will be shared there. You can look at that. Alternatively, you can connect with Mr. Avdesh Nagar. We'll be sharing his numbers at the end of the session, and you can work out a debt reduction plan for yourself. Thanks for asking that question, Gangesh. Really appreciate that. Any more comment or question, and then we'll be happy to move on. Can you please, financial investment over? Darshan, thanks for that question. I'll let Avdesh take on from here. And during the course of the question, during the course of the session, this may get answered. In the last session also, we had captured the expectations of different participants about what we should be doing in this session. And believe you me, we go through everything that you put in the chat, and we review it. Please keep putting your questions and comments on the chat. We review it, and we will answer them either at the end of the session, or someone from the office of Mr. Nagar will get in touch with you, and we will schedule a one-to-one discussion with you on your questions. So please keep the comments coming on the chat. Please be actively engaged with us. This is not a session where you can multitask. So if your camera is off and you are trying to do two things at a time, you will not be able to get much out of this session. Please be 100% engaged. This is serious stuff. This is about your money. This is about the financial future of your family. So please don't multitask. Listen to what Avdesh has to say for another 30 to 40 minutes. And then we will open up the session for final question and answers. Over to you, Avdesh.
Thank you, Ashish, for setting up the tone of today's discussion. I think we have got a lot of very useful insight from you, and Sanjeev had a lot of great inputs to give us. And we start from there, and we actually we'll try to meet expectation of our participants. Last time we had certain questions, and I'm hopeful, I'm very confident that we'll have answer of most of it by the end of the session. Or if it's not that, then individually we are available to address any other issues if they're remaining. So thanks, friends, for joining this. As Sanjeev and Ashish talk about the goal-based investing and why goal-based investing. At this moment, I would like to ask you, and please reply me in the chat. How do you make your financial investment? And any recent financial products you have bought in last few months, few years, you remember? Just put your experience in the chat box, please, quickly. Yeah, great. So we need to know, how did you, gold bonds, Mr. Goel bought. Okay. Anybody else?
I use the brain power of Avdesh.
I'm asking how. Thank you. Thank you. But somebody can unmute and say how they were approached. How did they decide to buy the product? What did they think? Yeah. Okay. Good. Pension policy. Anita says pension policy she got.
I have
Okay.
actually.
So fine. Thanks. Please. Yeah.
I have
Yes,
bought
please.
a term plan. I have bought a term plan. So I have added actually. I already had one term plan of 1 crore. Then I, purchased a house. So I thought, this is additional burden I have put in on my this thing. So मैंने उसको increase किया term plan को cover को.
ठीक है. Thanks, Gangesh. Thanks a lot for your input. You can keep putting it. See what happens when we typically have seen people buying a financial product without having a specific goal in mind. So when we have surplus money, typically what happens, when we have some money lying in our bank account, you'll see banker approaching us. Or if sometime you visit a bank branch, there will be RM of bank and he'll talk to you. He said, why don't you put in money somewhere, XYZ kind of schemes, and they'll show you some fancy schemes. Lot of emotional blackmail happens at the time of childbirth in the house. कोई एजेंट आएगा बोलेगा बच्चे के लिए करा लो. अरे इंश्योरेंस प्लान बच्चे के लिए नहीं होता है, इंश्योरेंस आपको अपने लिए चाहिए. तो हमें what is important is that we need to have sight on our goal and how we achieve that goal. So if you are making a short route travel from Gurgaon to Jaipur or Bombay to Pune, then probably you'll drive down or something. But if you are traveling Delhi to Mumbai, then you need to take a flight or a train or something. So the different vehicle which will serve a different purpose. So please have your goal very much into sight while taking any kind of financial decision. Next one, Ashish. And these are the most important goals which we might have in our life. Child education, we have to sponsor our children's education. Marriage, retirement is most important, and people did want to know about the retirement planning in the previous session which we have, and we'll discuss separately because this is one of the very challenging and most important topic which we have in today's time. Buying home, car, vacation, any such kind of financial goals can happen. So if your goal is 1 year away, then there is a different plan for that. But if your goal is 15 years away, there's a different plan for that. So whenever you, again, please consult your advisor. Please ask question yourself that why you are doing this kind of investment and why you are spending money out of that. There's a recent incident which is a very interesting incident which happened with me, and why I want to narrate is that this is a typical way that how people treat their money. So this is a close friend of mine, and one evening we were having a discussion with him. He said, Avdesh, I want to buy agricultural land near my hometown. So, and somehow I have an assignment. I'm consulting in that area for some other project. So I connected him somebody known to me, and then they talked about this. He told his requirement to the person. But then after that, I asked him, why do you want to do that? So he said, Avdesh, my children will go for higher education after 10 years, and I'll be able to sell land and get the money out of that, and I'll sponsor their education. I said, okay, so tell me, we are sitting in 2020, that's last week it was. So 2020, and whatever you invested 10 years back, did you invest in property, any land, anything? He said, yes, I did. He said, what is the situation today? We are so what we have to do, what your investment you made in 2010, what is the situation today in 2020? And he said, there's no appreciation in one of my property. One land which I bought, there are other nuances. People are encroaching. There are litigations. I'm really having a tough time, and it's not here. All kind of issues which I have along with that. I said, and again you want to invest there. Do you think after 10 years you will not have that kind of issue? You will be able to liquidate and get the money out of it for right kind of purpose which you are having, and that stuck him. That's because there was no answer to this, because you have faced something 10 years in a particular kind of investment, and you are again going for that investment hoping that it's going to be good. Don't hope. You have to be very clear about the investment which you are making for a particular purpose. Next one, Ashish. So we know Warren Buffett. We have discussed a lot in the previous presentation also, and this is Mr. Warren Buffett, and this is part of an interview which he gave. So interviewer asked him that, is it so difficult to get rich? And his answer was, no, it's easy, but nobody wants to get rich slowly. So what message we get out of this is, we are looking at a short-term prospect. We want to get rich very fast. Most of the people think, oh, in next 2-3 years, how much money I can make. Financial planning is not a short-term process. It requires your patience. It requires a strategy. So if you want to get rich very, very quickly, probably will not. You will never be rich in that case. You have to wait. You have to give it time, and you have to really think to take a help of right kind of people for your financial prosperity in the future. Next one, Ashish. Compound is eighth on the word. Now here there are two options. Which one you would like to take here? Please put in the chat box. You are given an offer that you get 1 crore salary every year for next 32 years, or you will be given 1 rupee to start with, and it will double every year for 32 years. What is the option one should take? Please put your answer as option 1, 2. Okay, Manoj says option 2. Option 2, very good. Okay, option 2. Very good, very good. Very glad to see these answers. Most of people are saying option 2. And yes, that is right. That is right. Option 2 is right. And why it is right, we look at the next screen, Ashish. That's why option 2. So you earn 1 crore rupees per year, और आपको 32 करोड़ रुपए मिलेंगे 32 सालों में. पर अगर आप 1 रुपए को डबल करते हैं हर साल, you will end up getting 429.5 crore rupees. But most of it comes in the later part of year. And the benefit is that you have waited for so long. So if you wait for so long, then you will have a fortune to yourself. But if you don't, then probably the value of 1 crore will also go down after 32 years. It will not be that much, which is today. So this is the power of compounding, which we don't realize. So you have to wait. You have to give time to your investment. You have to give time to your planning to succeed. Next, Ashish. Now, friends, this is a very famous concept of latte factor in US. As you know, latte is what? Latte is a coffee. All of us have it. So in the times when we actually used to go to the office, and now we're again starting that, and we'll go down, have a cup of coffee, chai, or something, or we'll just go to a cafe nearby, take a small break for a coffee or something. But even that money is important. If we can avoid, rather than, I'm not saying you should not enjoy coffee, you should not go and spend money. But let's say 1 or 2 coffees in a day, we could avoid to put that money in investment. What does it do for us? 100 rupees per day. We don't think about that, spending such a small money, but that can actually make us $1 millionaire. So if we can just avoid unusual coffee, which we really don't want, we just have it, that kind of thing. It's not a necessary expenses. We can be $1 millionaire in 30 to 40 years time. Simply that 33,000 rupees invested per month for 40 years will actually give us close to 7 crore rupees. That is, again, that's the power of compounding. So, but one needs to keep a patience and need to avoid unnecessary things, unnecessary spending, which we sometimes do without thinking. Even that small money is so important. It can do so good to us for a long run. Next one, Ashish. So when we select a product, what should be the criteria? How do we select a product for our goal? First importance beats inflation. Inflation is something which is eating into our saving, our money on a regular basis. We really need to be over and above the inflation. Now, let me give you an example here. Let's say you go to a market and you like a pair of shoes, which is costing 2,000 rupees. You're very happy you want to buy that pair of shoes. But you are a prudent investor, you are a prudent you follow some financial discipline, because there are too many shoes which you have, and might as well delay this for some time, and you decide to put this money in an FD. FD gave you 7% interest, and next year you brought 2,000 rupees, you have 2,140 rupees. you take this money, you go to the market, and you want to buy the same pair of shoe now. But what happens? The price of shoe has gone up. The price of shoe is now 2,200 rupees. So you are short of 60 rupees for purchase of shoe. Now you would have been better off had you bought this shoe last year. No, there was no need to defer your purchase. If you have deferred your purchase, you should be rewarded. But inflation has eaten into that. No? So it's very important that you earn something which is more than inflation on your investments. Second is there has to be liquidity. You can get that money at the time you want. Should not happen that the asset is so illiquid that you're spending a lot of time, like some of the real estates are. You're spending a lot of time to liquidate it and get the money. Flexibility, you should be able to shift out of that. You should be able to change that easily. It should be cost effective. Some assets can be very expensive to maintain. If you keep a gold in physical form, then you have to arrange for safety of gold and few other. You're not sure also of the quality. So the cost also has to be reasonable for maintaining the asset and running the asset. Has to be tax efficient, and most important that it has to meet your financial goals. This is what we had been talking about right from the beginning. Next one, Ashish. This shows what inflation does to you. Now, 11,300 rupees of 1990 is 1 lakh rupees today. So what you get for 1 lakh rupees today, you could get for 11,300 rupees in 1990. And 2010, 2000 you could get it for some 48,000 rupees or something in 10 years. So there's an inflation which is eating, and we have to, when we decide on any kind of investment, financial planning, inflation is the biggest factor which you have to think of, which you have to take care for the future. And we'll talk more about this, how inflation is going to impact all our financial plans.
And Avdesh, just if you allow me to add here.
Yes. Yes, please.
So inflation, you are very right. Inflation is really very important. Sometimes we just keep our money lying in the drawers, saying that it will be available for us. It is readily available.
Yes.
But I think that is right way to save or keep the money. There are ways. There are more efficient ways where money is available to you off the shelf, but it is still in the system, productive system. At least it must beat the inflation. There's no point of keeping money idle, and it gets reduced. Actually, the power of purchase gets reduced after a time.
Yes.
So this is a very important slide, Avdesh.
Yeah. Thanks, Sanjeev, for your input. So I think understanding inflation and related risk is extremely important. People just go and put the money sometime in FD and sometime in some other instrument, and without realizing. And sometimes a lot of cash is tagged at home. Which again, which is actually losing its value every day if you are not putting it to work. So the money needs to be put to work in the right way. Thank you, Sanjeev, for your input. Next one, Ashish. So there is an example. This client, say, which is 30-year-old and has one child. Now, if he has to plan for future, for child marriage, child education, and his retirement, probably today's cost, we are not taking much of cost, 25 lakh rupees each for child education and child marriage. But when the time comes, the child is ready to go, this 25 lakh after 16 years is going to be close to 67, 68 lakh rupees, not less than that. So if you think 25 lakh rupees when your child has to go for the education is not going to be enough. You have to plan to get 67 lakh rupees, not 25 lakh rupees. And similarly, here for the marriage, you have to provide for probably 1 crore rupees after 25 years. This is what inflation is doing. For retirement, if your today's monthly expenses are only 40,000, which is very, very, a small sum which we have taken here. After 30 years, it's going to be 2.3 lakhs. And you need a corpus of close to 5 crore rupees, to live through your golden years and that time to have the same kind of lifestyle which you are currently having. Next one, Ashish. Carrying forward, I have taken an example. It's not, not that this will serve every purpose. Just for understanding purpose, I have taken this example. So, going forward from the same example, so if we invest this money at 8%, let's say we are getting a return of 8% from an investment, to meet all this goal for this person to organize for all these requirements for next 30 years, he will have to invest something like 43,000 rupees per month to meet goal of retirement, children future, marriage, education, everything. So, so 43,000, this is what he has to invest. Next one, Ashish. But if this gentleman invests it at the rate of 14%, so his monthly requirement comes down to 18,000, approximately 18,500 rupees. So little bit, 6% kind of change in interest rate brings down the requirement for less than half. So you need to invest in asset. If you have a long-term goal, you need to invest in asset which can give you higher return. We'll talk more about different asset class, but this is only the purpose of understanding the interest rate and how does it impact us and how how we need to have a right sight on our goal. Next one, Ashish. We talked about retirement, and in our last session, we had a lot of inquiry about the retirement planning and people asking about retirement planning. And I would like you to give your focus here. This is the biggest challenge for today's generation, retirement planning. The people who are below 40 or around that, the retirement is going to be huge, probably the biggest financial challenges in their life. And why do I say so? Let's understand a few things here. The average life expectancy now is 73 years of Indians. This was 49 years at the time of independence. So average Indians lives for 73 years. Living longer is a risk because you retire, say at the age of 58 or 60, you have to provide for a much longer period post your retirement. Now, 73 years is the average, but you will see in the middle class or upper middle class or wealthy people, the life expectancy is even higher because you have better medical facilities available. You will see people living a healthy life at the age of 80, 85. You will see them around you also. So if you are living for that long, 85 or 90 years, probably when a lot of us will retire, we live that long. It's good to live that long, good to live that kind of life. But then you have to provide for 25, 30 years post your retirement. So if you have to provide for long time, you really have to think about it. How will you manage for the next 25, 30 years when you are not going to earn? So living long is a financial risk, a huge financial risk. And now we don't have pension mechanism. It's going away. Even the government, government is also not giving pensions to new employees. Government has abandoned the pension mechanism from 15 years back. So people who are 40 now and even join the government services, they will also not get the pension when they retire. So you really have to plan for your retirement yourself. You fend for yourself. You really don't have pension mechanism, something coming to you post retirement. And on top of that, interest rates are coming down. So if you recall, 20 years back, we would probably get 12-13% on bank FD, and today it's probably less than 6%. Even 6% is not available in the bank FD. Interest rates have halved. As the economy develops, as we move forward, interest rate will keep coming down. So if you are thinking that you will get 7% on your retirement corpus after 20 years, you will not get 7%. You will probably get 3% or 4% after 20 years. So then you probably need to provide double the sum than you are thinking today. Next one, Ashish. Ashish, next. So I'm again trying to explain this with an example. Let's say your current living expenses are 1 lakh rupees and you think this is going to be good enough for your retirement. Ashish, next slide. Yeah, it's going to be good enough for your retirement. It will be after 20 years, you will probably need 2.65 lakhs, not 1 lakh. Even if we take just a 5% kind of inflation, it's going to be 2.65 lakhs. So you don't have to plan for 1 lakh, you have to plan for 2.65 lakhs. Now, second thing is, since your life expectancy is long, it's not what was at the time independence. Now, so you have to provide for 20, 25 years at least post your retirement, assuming that you are retiring at 60. If you're retiring early, then probably longer time. So that's the calculation one needs to make while doing a retirement plan. Interest rates are falling. So what happens? Let's say interest rates fall 1% from 7% to 6%. Now it looks 1% fall, but somebody who's living on the interest income, for him fall is 1/7 of his income, not 1%. The fall is 14.28%, 1/7 of his income. So if you have deposited 1 lakh rupees, you are earning 7,000 rupees. Now you will earn 6,000 rupees. It's a fall of 14% on your income, not a 1%. So a fall in interest rate is actually not doing very good to retirees. Their income is eroded. And you will see further fall in interest rate. From here on also, we have seen such a good fall in interest rate recently. Now the FD rates are less than 6%. Government of India bond, if you buy, you will get 5.9%. There are certain schemes which give you around 7% in Government of India bond also, but it will keep gradually coming down. So you will really can't expect to interest rate of 7%, 8%, those kind of thing after 20 years. Next one, Ashish. So we are living in a risky environment. Risk is always there. There's nothing called risk-free. Any point of time, we always take risk in life. So not taking risk is the biggest risk. If you think that you will not take risk, it's not going to happen. You are always at risk. Risk comes to you. You don't decide about the risk. So risk is always there. But however, we need to understand the financial risk. It's more important that how we manage our risk. We can't live without risk. But if we take calculated risk, if we understand risk, then we are going to do well financially. Now here, again, I would like to ask you a question, just to have a clarity on understanding of risk. Let's say I'm flying a plane. I've never done it, and there's a trained pilot who flies the plane. And whom do you think is taking a risk? Can I have an answer in the chat box? Who's taking the risk in this case? Please write in the chat box whether the pilot is taking a risk or I am taking a risk by flying the plane. Or you can unmute and say also. Oh, Sanjeev want to fly the plane. Okay, Anand also. Okay. Yeah, quickly, some more answers. Somebody said trained pilot. Nina said trained pilot. Wonderful. So just start taking the risk. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. See, risk is where the uncertainty is. So when I am flying the plane, there's no uncertainty. We know what's going to happen. Or any one of us who's not a trained pilot, we know either the plane will not fly, or if it flies, then what will happen, all of us know. So there is no risk coverage which is available against that. But if a pilot is flying the plane, there's a small portion of risk. Very, very insignificant, very small portion of risk, which is there. But will we fly with the pilot? We will fly the pilot. We'll take that risk. We do take that risk, kind of risk in life. So life is full of uncertainty. Life always offers risk. There are risks, but we need to understand the risks better. Next one, Ashish. So we know the equity markets are risky, very, very volatile. But here I'm showing the history of the market, history of the stock market. The Bombay index, Bombay Sensex, which is like 47, 48,000 nowadays, sitting at all-time high. It was 100 on 1st of April 79. That's the journey it has, around 41 odd years, 42 years it will be completing, journey of 42 years. So it started with 100 and it has now come to 47, 48,000 rupees. Now in this journey, what all we have seen in the journey of Sensex. We have seen all kind of crises. We saw India opening up its economy in 91 when Manmohan Singh was finance minister. We saw all kind of crises. Harshad Mehta, you've seen the series of Harshad Mehta. That's probably one of the biggest financial crises which we saw. We saw Asian currency crisis. We saw Lehman Brothers crisis, the recent one, 2008, 2009, which we saw when international banks collapsed and US government had to bail out a a lot of big financial institutions. And we saw the COVID crisis recently, which also turned out to be a financial crisis apart from health crisis. We saw kind of swing on which probably first time in my life also I've seen a lot of, don't remember this kind of thing happening in the equity market, that you see bear and bull market the same year. But we have seen all this kind of thing. But in spite of that, with all these hiccups, with the roadblocks, with rise and fall, the market has given 16% kind of return over all these years, in 42 years. Now, this is phenomenal. You won't get this kind of return anywhere. But is it risky? It's risky because it keeps falling and come down. You can enter in wrong time. You can lose money also. But is it worth investing? Of course, because it gives that kind of return in the long run. Next one, Ashish. So, what are the challenges? Yeah, thanks, Anand, for your input. I know we are not taking the dividend, so if we take that, it will be another couple of percentage more. Challenges investing. So investing, as a person, all of us must have invested in the market. But what happens as a layman, as a normal investors, we face these challenges. We don't have time, first of all. We need to have the time to really study, to understand the equity or the market. And we don't have expertise. So even if you have expertise, you probably don't have time, or you don't have all these ingredients together. We don't have information. Let's say if I want to invest 1 lakh rupees in Infosys, I really like Infosys, but I want to know more about Infosys. So I want to talk to their management or something. If I give a call to Bangalore and say, I want to come and meet you and I want to understand more about your company, what will happen? Probably they will just keep the phone down or probably say a few kind words. But if I have a large portfolio, of 200 crores and then I want to talk to Infosys, they will invite me, they'll welcome me in the red carpet. And market is volatile. So all these factors are there. That's why for a common investor, it sometimes becomes difficult to operate in the equity market. They are not always very successful. Next one, Ashish. Ashish, next slide, please. And that's the reason we need a financial advisor for overall planning to achieve our goal, to invest rightly, get the maximum benefit. We need a financial advisor. See, even in any kind of sports, you see coach. The best of the player, like Sachin Tendulkar also had a coach. Virat Kohli has a coach. They're the best player. They don't know to play. They know to play. All of these guys know to play. But they still need a coach to guide them, to give them right kind of a strategy, to give them a right direction. So having a financial advisor is something like having a coach for yourself. And there's no harm. Even however good you are, you need to have a different perspective. You need to have a guide for yourself to succeed in the journey. So, next one.
Yeah, Avdesh, would you like to share with us how a coach can make a difference, in the sense that sometimes the suggestions or the difference which a coach suggests may look very small. So suppose if could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, Ashish. So thanks, Ashish, for asking for that question. So coach, what a coach does, the player is playing, coach is probably watching him in the video. And then that is the time which he spends watching him in the video, and tell him that, what is the correct posture, how the steps you are taken are not correct. Or there are physios, which will tell you about your health, which will to a player, they tell you about the exercising, all these kind of things. So there are different kind of coaches which are associated with the player. We see player performing on the field, but we don't know about these people. But do you think player will be able to perform without these people? He will not be able to perform any point of time. So that's the value of coach. And that's why you need an advisor, you need a coach to succeed in your financial journey. To try to do it yourself, if this advisor makes a very small difference, even if a difference of 2%, if he makes a 2% difference in your return, over 15 years, probably it's 100% of your investment, which will get you excess. Would you not like to employ an advisor? Of course, you should employ an advisor. Not only for that, for covering your risk, for a better return in the future and succeeding in the financial journey. Thanks, Ashish. We can go to the next one. Mutual funds are a good way. We are not suggesting any fund here, but they offer a very good benefit and a real good avenue of investment, and they cover various kind of your needs. What they offer is that there is a professional management. As an individual investor, we may not be understanding investment very well, but the mutual fund, the professional manager, which are managing that, and they know this, they understand this very well. Their diversification, because they invest across the different kind of fund, different kind of industries. So we get a diversification. Then we are not stuck with the risk. The risk is managed in a much better way. The cost is very low of these kind of operation because size is very large. And you have liquidity, you get your money in 1 to 3 days time, depending on which kind of funds you have invested in. These are absolutely transparent. Every day you get a data available on the website. There are various other websites. There's an empty website which tells you about where your money is invested, each of the script, each of the variety, the duration of that investment, if there's a debt investment, any kind of information which you want is available to you. And it's absolutely flexible. You can start, stop anytime, change the amount anytime, entry, exit. Makes it very, very comfortable investments. It is very well regulated. SEBI is there. SEBI does a very good job of regulating and preserving and protecting investors' interest. So it's a very well regulated business, and there are a lot of tax benefit also in the mutual fund. If you want to know more, if somebody doesn't know about that, can get in touch with me separately. But this is a very good avenue of making the investments. And there are next one, Ashish. Next. And when we talk about mutual fund, we always probably think that it's only the equity funds. But debt funds, the size of debt market is twice the size of equity market in our country. But it's mostly institutional. So as an individual, we don't participate too much in the debt market, but the institution participate in the debt market, and this is twice the size of equity market. And there are options available to us from one-day investment, to multi-year investment in debt fund also. So if you have a very short-term need, less than 1 year, 6 months, then probably we need to invest in liquid fund or short-term fund, which don't have much of the volatility and gives us a decent kind of return. There are debt funds which are slightly long-term in nature. They bear interest rate risk. We can talk separately about interest rate risk, but there are debt funds which are available, which also you can invest for a medium to slightly longer-term duration, 1 to 5 years, depending on your need. But if you want to go for a long-term, then 5 year plus, 5 to 10 years or something, then equity is the best option because they are volatile. So I don't suggest equity investment for a short period of time, 1 or 2 years. But if you're investing for a longer period of time, the equity is going to give you the best kind of return, and which you've seen in the markets also. We'll talk more about what are the kind of returns which have come from various investments in mutual fund. Ashish, we can move to next slide, Ashish. These are certain returns which which these various kind of funds have given us, ranging from 18 to 24% also in last 15 to 20 years. And this is average of funds. So I've not taken one particular fund. I've taken average of funds which have been available. Now, if you have done SIPs in these funds, this is the kind of return which will come. A lot of you would have done SIP. Always do SIP for a very long term. Don't try to time the market. Market is up, I will not do my SIP. I will stop SIP or exit. Or market is down, and that time it becomes very difficult. Emotionally, it becomes very difficult for you to enter those markets. So SIPs are long term for a normal investor. Very simple way of accumulating a wealth in long run, but one needs to be disciplined. Next, Ashish. And friends, delay has a cost. Please note this is extremely important. Delay has a cost. So if you're doing same amount of SIP, somebody starting 5 years before will probably have 100% more return. So somebody starting at 25 of age, doing for 35 years, somebody starting at 30 years of age, doing for 30 years, their return, their wealth accumulation are going to be 100% more. So please start early. It's people don't see the emergency or urgency of starting a financial planning, but every day you are doing is a cost to you. So I would urge all of you to take help of a financial advisor and start your financial planning as soon as possible. Next one, Ashish. So thanks this much from my side. We will answer your questions, and we are available one-to-one as well later on. I'll request Ashish now to come in and take forward the session. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Avdesh, for making those some very, very powerful points there. And I think this is blended very well with the input Sanjeev has given us at the start of the session also. So we'd like to take a couple of minutes to just go through everything that we have discussed so far. And I would like to invite people to share their comments in the chat section. What has been their takeaway, or what has been one thing that they are, that has kind of opened their eyes, any aha moment. We will take question and answers later, but quickly, if you can just share your takeaways and comments, we'll be happy to do that now. So far, what we have discussed is, yes, there were two parts to what we discussed today. One was the wealth protection strategy, and second was the wealth creation strategy. Those were the things that we discussed, and within those, we talked about protecting by taking adequate insurance, which is very, very important. Not only having insurance, but the right amount of insurance is very important. So Gangesh is saying starting to invest early. As per the story of Ram and Sham, this is very important. We feel that, it's only a question of 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, what difference it makes. But it makes tremendous difference, because the compounding works more and more in the later years. So starting early is very powerful. Anita says taking calculated risks. That is, I think, a great point Anita has made. Our tendency typically is to avoid risk. Wherever we feel there is risk, we tend to avoid it. And we tend to put all our money in FD. But as we pointed out, if you're putting all of our money in FD, it may not be even beating the inflation. And post-tax returns most certainly will be less than inflation. Gangesh said that goal-based investing is very important. Having a second source of income, which was also pointed out by Sanjeev ji, is very important. Be disciplined in investments. Save first. That is important. Selection of asset class is very important. I think Gangesh has done a very good job. I saw him making extensive notes, and that has kind of captured the session so far largely. We will move on to, and at this stage, we would like to have your feedback on how you like the session. So this feedback form I am sharing in the chat. It will take less than 1 minute. I would request everybody to fill out the feedback form and let us know how did you find this session. What's your outlook for equity markets 21-22? Well, so do you do fee-based financial planning? Shivdas noted your question. We'll be taking that up in a short while from now. Once you have submitted the feedback form, please type FD, feedback done, in the chat box so that we know you have filled out the feedback form. It will take you less than a minute. Please quickly open the link. Go. It's a very simple form. And while you are doing your feedback form, I'm also sharing the link to our YouTube channel. Thanks, Anita. For those of you who missed the last week's session and would like to see the recording, this is the YouTube channel where all our videos get uploaded. So please like and subscribe to the channel. And in case you would like to know about the future events, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, you can also connect with us on the WhatsApp community, Mindful Living WhatsApp community, where we keep sharing updates about our sessions. Thanks, Darshan. Could we have some more responses quickly, please? It takes less than a minute. And please do let us know once you have submitted your feedback. And those who have submitted the feedback, thanks, Anand, can also subscribe to us on the YouTube channel or connect with us on the WhatsApp group to receive YouTube channel for videos of the previous sessions and WhatsApp group for update on the future events. And we will keep moving on. Thanks, Manoj. Really appreciate that. And we will move on now to so as I was sharing, I'll take a couple of minutes to talk about the Dar Se Dream Tak program, the 8-week program that we have put together. And we've just concluded the 2 sessions on the financial peace program, so with Avdesh Nagar. The first session was on the 2nd of January and the second one today. The session next week is on emotional intelligence. And that is again something which is very important for our success. A lot of people are struggling in managing their emotions, and one of the ways in which we manage our emotions is by resorting to drinking, or there is a increasing incidence of rage. We are shouting or not able to handle our emotions. So we are going to have Astha Diwan, who's a very renowned psychologist, come and talk about emotional intelligence. She has got nearly 20 years experience of training the corporate employees. So she will be talking about how emotional intelligence is very important and how we can develop it in the 2 sessions on 16th and 23rd January. Then we will have Mr. Manoj Nair talk about how to successfully set and achieve goals, which is about living with purpose. And then we will have Dr. Gagan talk about home ergonomics. A lot of people are having issues with their neck pain and back pain, working from home, not having proper furniture. So he's going to talk about home ergonomics and proper postures. Dr. Gagan Kapoor was earlier the physiotherapist for Indian national football team. So he's going to be taking this session. And we will have Amrita talk about Yog Nidra. A lot of people are having issues sleeping. So she's going to talk about what are the yoga postures you can do, what are the yoga asanas, pranayam that you can do to sleep better. And she's going to lead us through a Yog Nidra practice. And then we will have Dr. Nupur Agrawal take a session on the mindset of success. A lot of people sabotage, it's very, it comes as a surprise to people, but what stands in our success is we ourselves, and many cases we are sabotaging our own success. So she's going to talk about the mindset required for success. So these are the 8 sessions. You can give your feedback whether you would like to be a part of this session so that we can keep sharing the information with you on a regular basis. And with that, we come to the last part, which is about the information that we have shared with you. There is a lot of information Avdesh and I have shared with you, but this information will be of little use if you don't act on it. And it's only when you act on the information that we have shared, transformation will happen, and your financial future, your family's financial future will be very, very good. And with keeping that in mind, we are very happy to offer you a bonus offer, which Avdesh has very kindly agreed to, which is a 30 minutes complimentary consultation. Avdesh's number are there on the screen. You can connect with him directly, or you can let us know in the feedback form, and somebody from Avdesh's office will reach out to you and schedule a convenient time. So take action now and give us your feedback, connect with us, avail of the complimentary offer so that you can really make the most of the session today. Don't just be an information gatherer, be an action taker. So with that, I'll kind of pause here to see if there are any questions or comments, and then we will move forward.